Mac and Jet Live. We are here again, guys. Thank you for tuning in to us on this live broadcast along with us and also on YouTube. We hope that everybody tunes in today and for further broadcasts because we are going to start off our YouTube channel, which is Mac TV $. So this will be one of the first episodes you'll see. We have a couple of the other past episodes on there, so make sure you tune in, and Elder Jet's going to let you know how to do that.
Hey, how you doing? Those of you who are watching live now, you're already following our Facebook page, the Facebook page Mac and Jet. If you are doing so, please share the post so that your friends who are not our friends may view the post. And listen, friends, once you see the post, please like and follow the Mac and Jet page and also share the post on Facebook. Now, the Facebook page is Mac and Jet. Mac and Jet. You can follow and like the page, and please, sir, go in and share all of our posts. Secondly, on YouTube, you may follow the YouTube page at Mac TV $. The YouTube page is Mac TV, that's MAC TV $. You can do that, follow that page, subscribe, like, share all posts, and hit the bell so you can be notified anytime we have a broadcast or a recorded broadcast on our page. So 2 things. Follow the Facebook page, Mac and Jet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mac TV $.
Nice. Yeah, listen to that. Make sure you guys get us. We got to get flowing here. A lot of people want to know when we're doing this. We're going to start being a little more, at least disciplined in getting these videos out. A lot of people's interested in it, and so we're going to try to do that. Today's topic, interesting topic. Should college players be paid? What is this NIL? What is the reason we had a spat between Nick Saban, Jumbo Fisher, and Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders, is, if you guys don't know, is coach at Jackson State, HBCU. We all know who Nick Saban is, considered the greatest coach in college football anyway. And then Jimbo Fisher, an assistant coach of Nick Saban's, who's now at Texas A&M. He was before that at Florida State. He's a disciple of Saban, and he followed Bobby Bowden. So, Elder Jet, what do you know about NIL? What is NIL? This is going to be, I guess, the official way that now college players can get some money while they're playing college sports.
NIL is simply the initials of what it stands for: name, image, and likeness. In previous years, college students weren't allowed to capitalize off of their name, image, and likeness. So there's been state legislation around the country that is now allowing college students as well as high school students to be paid from their name, image, and likeness, meaning endorsements and things like that.
Good thing. So let's get your perspective. Should college players be paid, and why?
Well, I think anyone who is in a market where people are getting paid and money's being generated should also be paid fair market value. If there's a product and you happen to be the product and it's worth billions of dollars, then surely you should be able to partake in the fruits of your labor. So, yes, I think college athletes should be paid.
Yeah, the only problem I have with it is you think they should be paid, but they already get tuition, they get room and board, they get an education so they can, be a professional in life, and I don't understand why they should also get paid.
The same reason you don't just work for bare necessities. You want fair market value for what you do. I mean, you could go to your job, and instead of making $90,000 a year, they can say, hey, we'll pay your rent, we'll pay for your car, we'll give you 3 meals a day, and we'll put gas in your car, and you should be fine. That's an even trade. That's that's more than somebody who doesn't work here gets. So they can do that. I mean, you can duplicate that everywhere in the world. But what makes things fair is giving people fair market value. How can I tell a kid, a star on the football team, that he's filling the stands with hundreds of thousands of people, He can't get paid. His tuition is his pay, but the coach is making $7 million a year. I don't understand. I don't see synergy in that.
So what do you think? So then NIL, from the way you explained it, it's an athlete, a student athlete, being able to now use their name or their image or some kind of likeness, whether they put it on a shirt, they can sell it, whether they get, if the local pizza shop wants to put them on a commercial saying, hey, here's the quarterback from Ohio State University who eats the Carlos pizza. Carlos can pay them money and he can support himself while he's in college. What do you think about that? Is that a precursor to kids getting paid? Do you think that's the correct way to do it? Or are you with me? I believe there should be a check written directly from the university or the NCAA to the children, to the kids, to the students.
I think both. I think they should definitely be able to be paid from their employer, which you can phrase it any way you want. NCAA says they want to keep their amateur status, but if you're a running back, a star running back for Ohio State, you are an employee of the university, so you should get paid just like every other employee of the university.
And you think now, how is that? Should everybody make the same amount?
No.
Give us a
Fair
breakdown.
market value. So whatever your value is, that's where you should be paid. And it's up to the staff to assess that. It's up to the market to dictate what each position, each level, each player is worth. There are players in the NFL who share a locker room, 53-man roster. But there's a lot of disparity in a guy that plays special teams, what his salary is compared to the quarterback. So no, there's no place really. Do you make the same as your boss?
No. So in your, let's say in Elder Jet's world of being the commissioner of the NCAA that's going to maybe oversee this pay for play, there could and would be athletes not being paid, or
possibly. If you have no marketable value, then it's up to you to get the best business deal for you. If they're saying, hey, we have a scholarship for you, there's room and board, your meals will be free, but for a player of your caliber with your marketability, that's the best we can do for you. It's up to you to say yes or no. So yeah, I would negotiate in that way if I was a university and I had an offensive lineman who was going to be a third string lineman and may never play, but would be one of my reserves, and I didn't have any money or anything to offer him, but I needed him in case of injuries and to be a practice player. Then I would offer him the minimum, which would be what the players get now: the scholarship, the room and board, and the meals. And it will be up to him to say, listen, I'll just take my talents to a Division II school where I can be a big fish and use my name, image, and likeness to secure funds for myself. Now, I know I'll be giving up the platform that you provide here at Ohio State, but I may not play here anyway. You know what I mean? I'm third string this year. I may be third string again next year. You're going to be recruiting 5-star athletes every year. I may never get on the field. So this might not be the place for me.
Yeah, the transfer portal comes in then. So let me make sure I got this right. At least as we're initially unpacking this, you are for the free market, I presume. The free market should set what each player would make. So does that mean each team might pay different for that position player or that level of depth chart player also?
Sure. If you're in a bigger market, it's no different than the Pittsburgh USFL team. The professional players on the Pittsburgh Maulers don't make the same amount of money as the Pittsburgh Steelers because they're in a different market. So if you have a different market from USC and you go to San Jose State, San Jose State may not be able to afford to pay their quarterback what the quarterback of UCLA makes.
So you're not going to run away from the standpoint of basically saying that we got 17, 18, 19-year-old young men going to college to get an education that also play a sport, being considered a professional athlete, you're fine with that?
I am, because many of them have been. That's been what's happening anyway. Only the athletes weren't allowed to benefit. Other people benefit from them being professional athletes and being compensated as amateur athletes.
Which is kind of where I'm at on it. The main, first of all, I think they should be paid, and there's only one reason I think they should be paid, and that's because the money they generate, the money that comes in, and when you hear the amount of money, it should go to the people who's, like you said, who's the product, why people tune in, and so I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if that feeling that I have is warranted, meaning they bring in the money, they should get paid. Because now I'm wondering, when you go to college, even if you're a practice player, you have to go to practice every day. You have to miss some of your, or work harder to get your degree. I don't know that the money given to that person shouldn't be equal to everybody else just because he's not as talented. He's still participating with the team. The school gets the money. The greatest players need players to practice against. So I think his worthiness.
I don't see it that way. I wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's nice. That would be very nice. But business doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. I don't see why it should start with the NCAA. If you're a third string player, you get third string money, or you get third string compensation, whatever that may be. If I'm the All-American quarterback, Heisman Trophy candidate, then I'm going to demand the most money. I'm a big market name. I'm a big ticket item, and I deserve big money.
So let's do this. This is something new. We've seen certain models in professional sports already. Would you, in this NIL, not the NIL, I'm saying if it was the NCAA doing the pay for play, hard cap?
I don't see a reason that there needs to be a cap on paying money when there's not a cap on generating money. They're like, the NFL has a cap of how much they can pay the players, but they don't have a cap as to how much the owner can make. So if I don't understand, the cap is just a handicap for the athlete.
Well,
and it allows ownership to keep a bigger piece of the pie. So it's a rule that they put in place to protect themselves.
Well, that's true, but again, the way the collective bargaining agreement is negotiated and what they've voted on is a percentage of the money coming in. Mm-hmm. So then you don't have to really worry about how much money's coming in. You always get a certain percentage of that money. So let's say, for instance, this way, it would be the athletes get 90% of the money coming in. That might be negotiated. Once the athletes get 90% of the money coming in, doesn't matter if it's $1 million, $1 billion, $500 million, they get 90% of that. The reason I bring the cap in is not because this isn't a situation where, you do have the colleges would be considered the owners in this situation. However, to me, the owners are, in this situation, to me, the owners are the fans, the people consuming the product. The reason I say that is that the money is going to come from TV. The money is going to come from ticket sales of the fans and things of that nature. So it's easily to figure out the money, to know where the money is coming from, and that's the pot that the players would be able to get 90% from. Mm. I'm more interested in the cap, is so that then underneath the cap, there's a certain amount of money coming in. I think all the players, there should be some type of way that all the players get it. You're going to try to adjust our live
Yeah, we need
feed.
we need to turn the camera. Maybe
while you fix that,
the line is sideways.
That's fine. While you do that, I'll kind of address the name, image, and likeness with Deion Sanders, and when you're ready for that, we'll go ahead and do that. I guess what basically happened is Jackson State recruited an athlete, one of the top athletes in the country, and he went to Jackson State, an HBCU, which most people find that hard. That's probably never been done, obviously. And once that got done, there were some people that was upset about it, namely the SEC and other people. We're going to adjust on the live, those who are watching the live, so just bear with us. But anyway, Nick Saban is kind of upset. I guess Texas A&M. Not only did he not get the player that Jackson State got, he also lost as far as the best recruiting cast at Texas A&M. So I guess in his being upset about that, they said possibly fearing of what might happen as far as his dynasty goes. He said some things like Texas A&M bought their recruiting class, that Jackson State paid $1 million for that student athlete. And he said it publicly. And then Jumbo Fisher basically got right back at him and said he wasn't a good person. His morals are in question. Basically talked about who is he to talk as some of the things that he's done in the past. What do you think about that? When you heard that, how you think that unraveled?
I just think Coach Saban is uncomfortable not being number one. He only cares about parity when he doesn't have the advantage. There's more money in Texas than there is in Alabama, period. So when the market becomes open and money comes into play, mm-hmm. as well as popularity and exposure, then it puts him at a disadvantage. And and really, it takes Power 5 out of the equation.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that. I think he wants to be number one. I'm just not I think he thinks he's also above the other coaches. I mean, to come right out and accuse Deion Sanders, who, we know how famous Deion Sanders is as the coach at Jackson State now, to come right out and accuse him of paying $1 million for someone, not the athlete earned a certain amount of money, but that they paid for his services, and then to say that Texas A&M bought their whole recruiting class. Jumbo Fisher, we know how famous he is as a college coach. He's one of the top 15 coaches in the country, at least in my opinion anyway. To just challenge him like that, I kind of thought that was kind of, I don't know, a boss move by Saban. What do you think?
I don't know if it was a boss move. To me, it was a lame move. Bosses don't really function at that in hate and jealousy. So that's not a boss move to me. That's a hater move. Mm-hmm. Just you get your money up. Get your money up. If you want to play out there with the big boys, if the market has changed, you need to adjust. They said I heard somewhere from a smart man that the quickest way to irrelevancy is complacency. So if you're complacent in what you do and therefore you're becoming irrelevant, then you need to make some adjustments. You can't let the past be your hero. You need to make some adjustments and get with the status quo, get with the new game. Don't just hate on Deion Sanders and Jimbo Fisher because they figured out a way to make the system work for them. Do what they did and make it work for you. I'm hearing Deion Sanders kind of clapped back and said that when players are coming to Jackson State and they're getting endorsement deals, you actually see them in the commercials and endorsing the products that are paying them. When someone goes to Alabama with an endorsement deal, you never see them endorse the product. They just get the money. So it sounds like what Coach Saban is accusing Jimbo Fisher and Deion of is what he's actually doing. And that might be what's leading him to believe that it's what they're doing, because he's just finding people to pay players to go to Alabama. They're never endorsing the products that they're being paid to endorse, but they're getting the money.
Well, so then let me ask you this. There was another take that I heard that they said that it's about Nick Saban is kind of upset with this NIL because he fears it's going to interfere with the amount of money the coaches make. At first, I kind of didn't agree with that, but now I'm starting to realize that at some point, when you're trying to give the money to get the best coach, that's what the colleges always did. Once the colleges are not getting that money and it starts to go to the players, coaches may be a little less, I'm not going to say important, but they can, because let me just, there are guys coaching high school football now, young guys want to coach that would love to coach Alabama for $1 million a year. And there's nothing to say that they can't become as great as any other college coach. And so you might start seeing universities saying, hey, we got to pay all these kids. We're not getting the money we're coming in to. The college coaches might have to go to NIL, name, image, and likeness.
Oh man, you mean fair market value? Oh no. Poor coaches. Poor coaches that have been getting paid off of Ezekiel Elliott and Sean Springs and Joey Galloway and Terry Glenn and Ricky Dudley and Eddie George. Poor coaches that have been making all these millions off of them for all these years. Now they might not get it, and they might have to sign their own deals and only get paid fair market value. Oh my, that's so sad.
It is sad, and it's really a question that I don't understand at some point, and we're getting closer. I think this all started obviously with Ed O'Bannon way back, but then the Northwestern. I think when Northwestern decided to try to unionize the players, being the type of credibility that a university like Northwestern has as far as their academics and some of the people that come from that type of an institution, that you got some equipped business minds at Northwestern. And I think this is some of the fallback from that because, ultimately, what is it, $1 billion that ESPN pays college NCAA for their sports? It's a lot of money. And and who should receive that money? I don't know. It's interesting. I believe most colleges would have sports, whether it was on TV or not. So ESPN is doing everything. They're bringing the cameras. They got the TV time. The only thing the school is providing is, I guess, a space to put their cameras. Interesting. So players should get paid. How much would LeBron been paid if he went to college?
As much as he wants.
Could he get some endorsement deals?
Well, he signed a $90 million Nike deal right out of high school before he ever put on a NBA uniform. So I'm guessing that had he gone to college and been playing in the NCAA tournament, there would have been some major bucks rolling in for LeBron James.
High school students getting paid to play. What do you think about that?
It's a little harder to do. It's a little bigger pool. But if there's money being made and people are getting it, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I think
high school kids get paid at Subway.
That's true. It's true. That's interesting. I think that's one of those things that you start with saying, yes, let's pay them. And it's got to be a room, obviously, that wants that has voted that in. So, if it's at state level, they do everything by states now, which is ridiculous. But anyway, you go to OSHA, Ohio High School Student Athletic Association, or Ohio High School Sports Association, and you sit down and say, we want to pay these players. Who would pay them? So I assume it'd be the school districts.
Well, I would allow them to just participate in the NIL, the name, image, likeness.
Okay.
And let that be enough for them. You know what I mean? You're limited as to exposure. You're limited as to your platform in high school. I mean, it's not going to be, you're not really playing nationally televised games like you would be if you're playing for Ohio State or Florida State. So it's a smaller scale. So I would take the restrictions off as far as them going to make their money. That's what I would do.
What do you mean restrictions?
Restrictions. I would allow them if you can go out and if you can sell T-shirts.
Oh, I see.
People want to buy your T-shirt. Go for it. If the local pizza shop wants to give you an endorsement deal, go for it.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you're Chuck Hythen and you're playing for Big Red and you're the most popular kid in the Valley and people want to pay you to endorse their product, go for it.
I'm wondering if, I guess you have your parents to guide you. Well, but we know that parents differ. The ways that they can be in their children's lives differ. My problem would be I think with a child, the maturity level of being able to have that happen, the possibility of being taken advantage of is even more so in that situation. So I'd be interested to see how that work out. But you have, let's say, what was it, the Maslin Canton game? They say that the 50-50 gets up somewhere up around $20,000, $30,000. I think it was even more than that. It might have been $100,000 at one of those games.
I'm
or
not
something.
sure.
But again, the monies that a Maslin takes in because of there's ticket sales and things like that.
And Nike.
And yeah, because you're right. They would come calling, because
Well, have you ever seen Maslin's indoor facility?
no, I've never been there. I heard it's awesome.
It's better than WVU's.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was awesome. I think that's one of those things that, I don't know. You bring up these things, and I'm not a person that thinks that just you should be able to have and do whatever you want to be able to do in life without having some type of restraint. I just think that in the college situation, there's the adult thing. Once you're an adult, you should be able to earn a living. There's the direct hypocrisy of you going to school and you're in the band or you're in the choir or you are, I don't know, doing some other extracurricular activity. You're in a sorority and you can go out and because you're in a sorority, somebody can pay you a certain amount of money for being in a sorority. And it means absolutely nothing. But just because I'm playing football, there's difference. And okay, we hope that I see some questions that we've had come in. Put some light on the NIL and the situation with Saban and Fisher, Jumbo Fisher. Like I said, I just think that
And by jumbo, we mean jumbo.
Jumbo. Yeah, you're right. I mean, in saying jumbo, I meant Jumbo. But again, like I said, I think grown men, elder statesmen within college football, one to say that just accuse somebody outright of buying their recruiting class. I just thought that was I didn't know what that was about. It seems like somebody's nervous, somebody's fearful that money's going to be, going the wrong way. And I think there's more to that than just.
Well, when you're looking at when you're offering your stage, Alabama's a big stage.
Mm-hmm.
And when the only thing the teams had to offer was the stage, it was hard to compete with Nick Saban.
Right.
But now that someone can offer money, like I said, there's a lot of it in Texas.
Right.
And Nick Saban knows the boosters that are in Texas, the people that love Texas A&M, there's just substantially more money there than there is in the state of Alabama. I mean, it's just what it is. Now, Alabama has a powerful alumni because they've put a lot of players in the NFL, but you still can't compete with those big oil tycoons in Texas. And he knows, it's just a matter of time. I mean, and it happened fast.
Yeah.
It happened fast. Texas A&M shot up the ladder real fast. As soon as they put money into the equation, Texas A&M shot up that ladder real fast.
Yeah, number 1 recruiting class. They just beat Alabama also.
Yeah,
this year.
And Texas ain't going broke.
No, no time soon. And I don't know. It's just scary whenever that situation happens. These athletes, you just wonder if they'll be able to get what they're supposed to get.
It'll get there, but I'm just glad they're getting something, because it's heartbreaking to see 40, 50, 60,000 people file into a stadium to see some kid run a football. And the coach that recruited him, the school loves him so much, they pay him $6, $7, $8 million a year. But meanwhile, this kid is from New Jersey, and his mother is living in a 2-bedroom apartment with his 4 siblings, and the electric bill is due, and the coach is not even allowed to give him $300 to pay it, or he's ineligible. That's the situation that's been facing a lot of these kids for decades upon decades, while the NCAA and these universities got rich, and many of these kids just got hurt and were never able to cash in on what they should have been, and were never able to capitalize on what they already were at the universities that they were at. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to get a bite at the NFL apple. So if I'm popular at Florida State, but I'm not quite good enough to play in the NFL, I need paid now.
Well, yeah, but I'm nervous, and the reason why I kind of talked about the pay for play is what I don't want to have happen is the NCAA gets kind of off the hook a little bit, because now we assume the kids are all being paid now because of NIL, and that's not the case. And so what I don't want is that same scenario you gave about the great athlete. The third stringer might have that same situation at home, loves football, has a chance at some point to grow and become an NFL player, but in the meantime, he could be ineligible because there's money he needs, and he goes and gets somebody gives him something or what have you, and it's considered it makes him ineligible, and now he's off that track. But because the money's still coming into the,
I'm hoping the NCAA becomes obsolete.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that the universities just say, why, like, come together and say, why do we actually need the NCAA?
exactly. Because the schools come together themselves to create their conferences, and then go to where they want to go as far as the championship and deal with the money. Now, the NCAA is that person that kind of administrates everything. Don't get me wrong, that's needed, but it doesn't. It should be renamed and their description redone, meaning somebody's got to do the negotiating with the TV people, because that money's coming to the whole group. It's not
who did it for Notre Dame.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about Notre Dame, and who else did it by themselves? If you had 230 institutions would then have to...
Well, then hire the person. 230 people need to hire the person that did it for Notre Dame.
Again, and then that would be called something different. The person that did it for Notre Dame Incorporated.
Yeah.
But again, I like I said, I just want to make sure that the kids get the money that's coming into the institutions through all the things that they come through. You mentioned the Nike deals, the clothing deals and things of that nature, the shoe deals. Again, the TV, all of those things, we need to make sure that the kids get what they're supposed to get. The men, the young women get paid for what they
I like
provide.
To see that change. I like to see those, because, right now, the shoe deals are by team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like North Carolina wears Jordan brand.
Right.
But I would like to be able to, if I'm the big recruit coming into North Carolina that's projected to be a first-round draft pick in the NBA next year, I want my own shoe deal.
Yeah. And again, that don't even need to be changed. That could be considered an NIL.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That's an NIL, and I can go right to the Nike and say, hey, listen, I'll wear your shoe, I'll do this, I'll wear.
I wonder how that affects the agreement between the brand and the university, though.
Again, and that's why I said, if we're going to do this, let's start thinking about the least of these first. Because, like you said, there's not that kid who's third string.
But it's really not that kind of business. It's really not that kind of business.
It is when it's a team sport, when you need everybody to have that happen.
Everybody needs everybody, but there's no parity. Like the Steelers need all their players, but they don't pay them all the same.
No, but they pay them all.
Yeah.
There is a minimum.
Oh, I can get with a minimum.
That's why I mentioned the cap type of thing.
I can get with a minimum.
Yeah, I'm thinking there needs to be a minimum that everybody gets paid a certain amount. So now there may be a minimum of Ohio State as opposed to North Carolina A&T, because North Carolina A&T may not have the same money that they're putting into the pot.
Right.
But again, I just think there needs to be a minimum.
And then where's the beginning and the end? What would the minimum be for West Liberty?
Well, I believe, again, I don't know that this would get rid of the NCAA. So whatever division you're in, that would decide it.
Okay.
So West Liberty wouldn't be in the same pot that Alabama would be in.
Right.
They would be in the same pot that, what's the place up north in Ohio? Mount Union. Those type of teams that might create. But what you would start to see is universities building bigger stadiums than those levels.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you would start to see more emphasis put in those areas. Consequently, now, in a situation like that, I don't know how the schooling goes, but I would like to see it at some point become reciprocal. In other words, if you got a smaller school and football becomes very big, I'd like to see football maybe give some of that money to the university also, so that university can grow, and have things that other universities doesn't, like the Ohio States and things like that. But that's a bigger conversation. We just wanted to touch base on that for this time. This episode is to get in a little bit to the NIL. We'll revisit this again. We've had some responses in our comment section about this. So when you see this on YouTube, again, this will be on YouTube. This week, we will put the link onto our Facebook page. Again, the YouTube channel is Mac TV Mac TV Subscribe. All you got to do is get an email, subscribe, and you will get, as soon as we put these videos on, you'll see them all. Right now, I'm going to be putting a lot of content on all the peace, wisdom, and knowledge interviews that we've done. Again, we're going to have some guests coming on. We're going to be inviting guests to sit down and talk with us on this show. And you'll see all that content. Brother Greg Gotti will be on Mac TV's platform also. He does some powerful preaching, some dogmatic preaching. You got to know the Bible, or at least you get a chance to listen to somebody who understands the Bible to teach you the Word of God. He's going to be on that platform. We're going to have an artist by the name of Chuck Lee, does some art and some music. He's going to be on that platform. We're going to open up our platform for some more interview shows. Elder Jet's going to do something. We're going to have some other folks on there. You guys who watch Drink Champs, Mac TV, have a couple of guys that's going to come on that platform and do a version of that, something like that. And I've always, it's the same thing. But we're going to have a lot of content on Mac TV, $. So please tune in. I do want to mention, I don't know if you have anything, Elder Jet, to talk about, but in the community, but Freedom Fund Banquet, NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet, June 11th, St. Florian Hall. Be there.
Yeah.
Elder?
Well, we are going to get back to our conversation about the GOAT, the Steubenville Big Red basketball GOAT. I think my compadre got a little nervous about that debate, and he took a couple weeks off, a little vacation. But we are going to get back to that. I'm not sure if it's going to be next week or the following week, but we will get back to that soon, because we did get a lot of feedback and input on that, and I'm curious to see who people think is the GOAT, Steubenville Big Red basketball history, as well as the GOAT in the OVAC history. So we will get to that. Also, like Mr. President said, NAACP banquet is coming June 11th. June 11th. Also, save the date of October 6th, 7th, and 8th, as we will have our convocation at Mount Zion Baptist Church for the One Body Covenant Fellowship. It's going to be something to see.
About being scared. Got to address this before we leave. I'm not scared. I was just caught off guard. Again, most of the time, when we start talking about the GOAT, and somebody mentions Michael Jordan, and then somebody mentions Jabbar, and then I say LeBron, very few people say Cheryl Miller or Lisa Leslie. Very seldom do they mention Candace Parker, Cheryl Swoops. And I don't think it's because they don't think those ladies are great basketball players. I think the assumption is two men are talking, they might be talking about the NBA. So the same thing here. I was talking about men's basketball. However, I've already conceded that I think out of everybody that's ever played basketball at Big Red, the first person on the list to name the field house after, be considered the GOAT, have their picture somewhere with all her accomplishments and accolades around her, would be Sylvia Crawley.
Thank you. Debate over.
Yeah, but that was never the debate.
Well, it's over.
That's fine. So everybody else who had opinions on everybody else, it's it's over. But again, so that goes without saying. So that there's no debate on that. So my thought would be, and I don't think Miss Crawley would care. I think we should separate it between men and then women, and then have a discussion putting everybody together. That's fine.
Well, maybe, but except it's over.
That's fine. So since it's over, we're going to see you guys next week. Again, Look for this episode and all the others on Mac TV $ on YouTube. And you can look at some of those other past interviews, like I said. And I think we talked about I talked about Sylvia Crowley on another episode of one of my peace, knowledge, and wisdom interviews. So we'll see you next week. Peace.
Jedi out.
Only I can make a change.